So all this week I've been harvesting around my garden. It's the end of November here in Northern California, Zone 9B at City Oasis. And yes, there's still been a lot to harvest. I've sort of been pushing the boundaries here because December does start in just 2 days now, but that's just what I do. I push boundaries. And well, if you stay tuned to the end of the video, you'll see just how well I succeeded and failed with pushing those boundaries this late fall. So usually we don't get our first frost till toward the end of November, which it is. And so I have been keeping a close eye on the weather, and we did get down to light frost this week a couple of nights. We got down to about 35. That's not good for most veggies. So come with me and you can see over 3 days of harvesting this week what survived and in the end what didn't. But that's okay. I have been harvesting for months and I have plenty still to preserve. No shortage of tasks to do in the kitchen as far as that goes. The thing about harvesting for me is I don't usually do it all at once. I tend to just harvest on a daily basis. What am I going to be cooking tonight? Am I going to be baking? And is there something out in the garden that would go well in that? So yes, I just harvest as things come ready and as I need them. Now this season was a little different. I had a few crops that I planted a large number of, so most of them would come ripe at the same time, such as my red rosella and my watermelon. And so I did do big harvests of those. And whenever I want to make a big batch of something like salsa, as I mentioned several times in this video, I of course have to go out and get a bunch of cherry tomatoes and peppers and green onions and chives. But normally, it's just little by little, which is probably not so exciting for a video. And I'm not so sure that this harvest today is that exciting, but I have a few shots of things I gathered in bulk. I, of course, didn't get everything because I did it on 3 separate days, but I think you'll get the idea. Time to take the lemons off my very young Eureka Meyer lemon tree. Didn't even think it was going to fruit this year, but it did give me some fruits, and it's blossoming again now, so I know more are coming on. Being careful not to cut part of the tree while I'm doing this, although it wouldn't really hurt it. Whenever you're cutting fruit off trees, make sure that you have sterilized whatever tool you're using to cut off the fruit, because you don't want to be spreading any kind of bacteria to your trees. Oh, there's one hiding back here. There we go. I think these look a little green in the light of this afternoon shade, but actually they're bright yellow. I got 10 in total, and they're good size too. I'm really happy with this. My favorite thing to do with lemons is to juice them and then freeze the juice, because then I can use them year-round to make wonderful lemon curd and lemon bars. Those are my 2 favorite things to do with them. And of course, lemon juice is also great for adding to things that you want to water bath can, because it provides the acidity that's necessary for that. Time to start harvesting cherry tomatoes and some other ingredients to make some more salsa. My cherry tomatoes grow through November and into December usually. And that's great because it gives me plenty of opportunity to continue to harvest them for fresh eating as well as for making chutneys and salsas and such. So I've got some container cherry tomatoes like these and these, as well as some that are growing in my raised beds. I'll be curious to see how much I get off of these today. It looks like we have several more weeks though that I don't need to worry about a frost coming, and I'll be able to continue harvesting, so I don't need to pick all the green ones for salsa today. I can just go with red and orange and leave the green ones to continue ripening in the coming days. I love cherry tomatoes. It's kind of hard not to eat them all fresh in the garden, and I do eat a lot of them that way. I suppose I consider it a gardener's tax of sorts. If I'm out here putting in the labor, then I guess I deserve to get some of the benefits. And I certainly do enjoy it. All right, I'm gonna harvest just a little bit more, and then I should have plenty for a batch of salsa. 6 feet tall, I still have red roselle hibiscus trying to keep going. It's really not perennial here, although I do have a friend that has managed to keep hers going by covering it in January and February. I harvested almost all of mine 2 days ago because it really just needed it. It was going to get moldy if I didn't, because that is a danger. If you leave your red roselle hibiscus for too long, it can start to mold. You can see that happening here. And that's because we had a really heavy rain. The water gets down in there, and then we have 75-degree days. Well, that'll do it. That creates its own humidity. So make sure you harvest it before that happens. I got most of mine safely in, and it was the 4th harvest, so I'd already brought in a lot over the last month. And most of what I took in the other day, I washed up and froze so that I can do whatever I want with it whenever I want. Freezing is a really great way to help you not have to do so much work all at once in this busy preserving time of the year. In fact, I'm planning to pull some of that rosella out of the freezer tomorrow and make some rosella jam and rosella scones. Time to grab some green onions. And lots more green onions. The absolute best onion you can grow, in my opinion, because it just keeps on giving. It just keeps on growing more, and soon you can have thousands if you want. That should be enough green onions for my salsa. Wait a minute, I almost forgot about these cherry tomatoes. And there's a lot of them here, too. Plus, of course, I've got all these tomatillas. And these tomatillas have already fallen to the ground, so they're definitely ready to go. I can't believe I forgot about these for a minute. Lots of cherry tomatoes hiding in there. Well, I'm glad I harvested those. That's another 8 or 10 cups of cherry tomatoes right there with a few tomatillas thrown in. Most of the tomatillas looks like will be ready in a couple weeks when I'll have a whole nother round of cherry tomatoes to pick. It's a little deceiving, but this is a very deep container, so yeah, probably 8 or 10 cups. And now, time to harvest some peppers. Here's a big one. Couple more up here. And a few more baby ones still growing. Several Georgia flame peppers growing. I'm going to cut them off now because they go super well in salsa. Green or red, these are delicious. So quite a few of those to take in. These purple sparkle peppers take forever to grow and forever to turn purple. I think I'm going to take this one now. And maybe this one now. And you know, there's others still on here I can leave to get bigger and turn purple. You know, if they have time. I'll keep an eye on the weather. And I'm taking in some pepperoncinis too. I have hundreds of these, and most of them I'm going to pickle probably next week. But I'm going to take some in now to go in the salsa. Can you see all the chickens? I bet you can't. They love hiding out under the olive tree suckers in their little portion of the southwest orchard. And more pepperoncinis to harvest. Well, I'm going to take these in and add them to all the peppers that I harvested a few days ago and put in the freezer. And we're going to get them all out, and we're going to make some salsa with the tomatoes and green onions and Yeah, it's gonna be delish. All right, time to harvest some more watermelon. These are Moon and Stars, and they are fantastic. And I just discovered a new way to eat them. Of course, fresh is the best, but you can dehydrate them into a very interesting and tasty fruit leather, or watermelon candy if you prefer. More tips on that in a different video on dehydrator recipes. All right, let's get them off. Now, if you're not sure about when your watermelon are ripe, I have another video with 7 ways to tell, so I'll put that up in the corner and you can check it out. But these are definitely ripe. One of the signs is the underneath turns yellow. Well, you know, not this. This is the moon, but where they rest. I guess this one just happened to be resting on the moon, so it didn't need to turn yellow. Isn't that pretty? A few more over here. Oh, the big one. See, there we go, with the underneath side being yellow. And that one. And one little one here. Aw, how cute is that? Well, I think I got them all this time. But considering I've had 4 rounds of watermelon, I can't say for sure. Kind of depends on what the weather does, I guess. Well, let's see. Is this butternut ready? No, not yet. It's just starting to turn. We'll come back for that another time. Looks like I have a kabocha, though. It's small, but I'm sure it'll be good. And talk about small. Look back in here. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Look at that little thing. Huh. We'll see. Not sure there's time for that one to grow. Geranium's looking good. And the bees are loving it. Guess what? I found another watermelon. There we go. I think that's number 7 today. Well, my gorgeous jigsaw pepper plant with the lovely variegated leaves and the purple peppers that finally came on but are so tiny, it has actually filled out with a lot of peppers. So I guess I am going to harvest them after all. I was thinking I wouldn't because they're so small, but there are a few that are about, well, 3/4 to maybe an inch long. And I guess I'll harvest those. But all these little teeny ones, I'm just gonna leave on the plant. And yeah, I definitely would grow this plant again because it's really so pretty in real life anyway. I don't know if it comes across on the video, but yeah, I think I will definitely grow it again, but maybe in my flower garden. Well, I think that's quite a harvest for the very end of November. And the thing is that I left plenty of cherry tomatoes and peppers to ripen, even more squash, maybe even more watermelon. I did go get a few more green onions and some garlic chives because those are always a welcome addition to salsa or stir fry. And here are those gorgeous jigsaw peppers. They are pretty. They're like purple jewels. Is this not the cutest little baby butternut you ever saw? It's already yellow, so I went ahead and took it. We'll see how it looks on the inside. And here is the salsa I made with all the veggies I just harvested. It looks amazing, doesn't it? Well, we've already tried a jar, and it's super good. This is one of my hotter versions, which most of my kids will really appreciate. And that's good, since I'll be giving them some for Christmas, I'm sure. Uh-oh. Mr. Owl did a great job this summer protecting my plants from the squirrels. However, he could not protect my poor delicata squash from the frost. That 35-degree Fahrenheit weather we had was just too much for this little plant. Also, way too much for the watermelon bed. Although, as you can see, the pineapple sage hasn't minded the cooler weather at all. But yeah, the watermelon bed overnight was done away with. So we won't have a fifth harvest. 4 was all we got. And now for a different kind of harvest. I looked outside my window and discovered my roses were blooming yet again. So I'm gonna go get some of those right now. Roses at the very end of November. Wow, I am very blessed and very happy to have found these today. I think there's nothing quite as lovely as flowers that bloom unexpectedly. They come upon you by surprise, so it's sort of breathtaking coming around the corner and seeing these, or seeing them peeking through the corner of your bedroom window as I did. So I didn't show myself harvesting this loofah that I'm gonna peel back with you now. In fact, I've never grown, harvested, or peeled back a loofah before, so I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I'll insert a picture here of what it looked like a couple of weeks ago in my early mid-November garden tour. And I took it off the plant just about 4 days ago. And the first day it looked great. The second day it had like 2 dime-sized spots of black something or other. And then yesterday that had spread to cover it like halfway. And I thought I should be peeling this back and seeing if it's still any good. Maybe I should have peeled it back as soon as I harvested it. As far as loofah goes, my research only went so far. I knew when to harvest it, but not necessarily what to do with it at that point. Fortunately for me, loofah is super easy, and when I peeled back just a little inch of it yesterday to see, the inside looks great. So let's do the reveal now of the whole thing. As you can see, I've taken a peek because it started turning dark. It looks better actually now than it seemed to yesterday. It looked almost black. But what I found when I peeked is I think it's okay on the inside. From what I read online, it was just peel it off. Well, maybe that's easier said than done. I might have to speed up the process, the magic of YouTube. I have to say thank you to Renee at RB the Garden Nanny for sending me the loofah seeds to begin with. Now that I've seen it actually works, I think I'm going to plant several of these next year and get them going earlier and use them because, yeah, I can tell already this is soft and it would work great as a sponge, whether for, a body scrub sponge or with dishes. Well, there she is, and she looks great, and she feels good too, nice and soft. I was thinking that she would be much harder, but no, definitely spongy, and I definitely am going to grow more of these. Thanks, Renee. I was shaking my loofah, and look what came out. 3 shiny, shiny seeds. I think there's a lot more in there. Yep, there they are. They don't seem to want to come out easily, but I think I'm going to use a long skewer to get them out without damaging the sponge. I shook it some more and got 5 more seeds. So using a plastic chopstick, I gently removed about 3 dozen seeds that look really good. There was about a dozen of them that were immature that I put to the side, but these all look really good. So I'm excited for next year now. Have you found anything unexpected in your garden lately? It's a little chilly out here this late afternoon. I've got a blanket here on my lap, keeping my hands warm. I need to get busy and crochet me some fingerless gloves. It's on the agenda, but I've been really busy this week crocheting little Christmas presents for others and haven't got around to crocheting me something. If you like this kind of content, then be sure to subscribe to City Oasis and make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll know whenever I put out new content. I am loving doing this channel and sharing with all of you what's growing in my garden, sure, and in my orchards, but also just the fun of experimenting with things and the great uses that plants can be to us, that nature is for us. So yeah, if you're interested, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you again next time.